All right, this is an episode I know a lot of you need to hear, and I am recording it when I'm still a little heated from the moment of my own frustration for the situation I put myself in today and what I experienced. It is a situation that we've all been in before. If we've done a lot of sales, we've all been in it, but it's the one that's so avoidable and we should avoid at all cost. So I'm going to share with you what happened to me today, how you can avoid it, and just give you a reminder that I know right now, if you're listening to this, you probably need. So you are listening to the All In Networker podcast. My name is Dan McCabe. Let's get started. All right, what's up, everybody? This is Dan, and man, I don't know. Today was a frustrating day. I'm not gonna lie. I put myself in a good situation, and through my own neglectfulness, kind of screwed it up. And normally you can kind of get away with it a little bit, but in this particular case, I didn't. In which case it caused me the ultimate frustration because it's the one thing. It's like something in this business, in this industry that I can control, and I didn't control it, and it got away from me, and it's going to cost me dearly. I'm not sure how dearly. It's impossible to tell. So it's one that's, I'll get over it. I'll be fine. I'll move on. I'll learn and grow from the experience. But as some people that are following my journey, I've got this thing that I'm doing online on my other channel where I'm kind of going through and I'm documenting myself going through a 90-day run that starts February 20th, 2021. So depending when you're listening to this, I'm recording this episode here on February 10th. So about 10 days from now is when I start the official 90-day run. So leading up to that, I've been putting together kind of like my army, It's me wanting to eat my own dog food to once again do a 90-day run in front of everybody that follows anything All In Networker and just show them that it works. I want to build a big team. I want to do it over 90 days. I want to show them what it takes, the amount of work and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it right in front of people, and they're going to be the judge. But with that being said, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And in this particular case, I don't know, call it bad, call it ugly. It was just dumb. So back in November, when we went on a break from recording podcast here while Dr. Peach and I were trying to figure out what the future looks like for both of us together and each other, apart from each other. And he made the decision, which was the right decision, was to focus on his team because they're going through a very difficult transition where the company that he was working with ended up, I don't know what you want to call it, but in a nutshell, it went away. All the agents moved to a new company. It was very traumatic for a lot of people, and he needed to be there and he needed to focus on that and work on that. So I took the time as well to, just step away a little bit and all right, so he's going to do that. I've got the opportunity to build a big team fast as well. If I want to do that, if that's what I choose to do, I can also focus on all these different tools and softwares and trainings and things like that we've built and put together. But I took that time to draw up exactly what I wanted my life to look like. I mean, it's rare in life that we get a chance or that we take the time that we want to do. I mean, if I could draw up my perfect situation, what's it going to look like? And I stepped back. I went to the float tank. If you don't know what the float tank is, you sit in a small salt bath. It's 8 inches deep. You float in there. You don't have any clothes on, and it's in this dark capsule, so you can't hear anything, you can't see anything, you can't feel anything. You just sit there, and you got nothing but your thoughts and a bunch of salt water. And you can meditate in there. You can fall asleep. You can do whatever. But I went and sat in there, and I reflected. I'm like, what is my perfect day going to look like? What is my perfect life going to look like? And I started to ask myself that question. Once I got to that answer, now it's time to start finding solutions for that answer. So I took all of January and I mapped out exactly how I'm going to get there. Part of me doing that is through a 90-day run. Part of proving to everybody how well all of our stuff does work, because I know it works, was that I'm going to document the entire thing. So anyway, so I did all that. I took that time. But in the meantime, while I was doing all that, I stepped back from everything that I was doing previous to November, which included prospects and people I've been following up with and people I've been talking to and people that I've been nurturing along the way. excuse me. And, and it was that neglect that cost me. So there was, anybody who's been through our shark hunting training, we talk about sharks all the time. We talk about recruiting sharks. And that's one of my big strategies. One of my big strategies for building a big team isn't talking to 2 million people. It's going out there and talking to people with 2 million people in their audience. It's going out there and going after the big fish. I mean, that's just one of the things that you need to do if you want to build a big organization. You need to along the way. And the only way you get them is by going after them and talking to them. But normally you're not going to sign those people up on one swing. You're going to have to go back a few different times. Usually the close after that first meeting is not for closing to get them into the business. It's closing to get that next appointment. It's closing for permission to call them next month. It's closing for things like that. And you nurture that lead, that relationship, that prospect, and you make sure they consistently see what you're doing. Well, since we were in such a weird spot, since I was in a weird spot, I didn't know what was going on with the old company. I didn't know what was going on with the new company. I didn't know if I wanted to do the new company or if I wanted to do a different company. I mean, I was a free agent. I could do whatever I wanted to. I've got a good network and I've got the ability to go out and build a big organization pretty quickly. I could do it a lot of different places, and I've got great opportunities. I have a lot of friends in the network marketing space. So, I've networked my way up before. So I took the time and I thought about that. But in the meantime, I neglected the people I was going after previous to November. I didn't do my follow-ups. I didn't reach out to people. I didn't, just check in with a Facebook message. Hey, what's up? I got some stuff I'm trying to figure out. Is it cool if I call you next month or whatever? I didn't do those things. I didn't do those basic, silly things that you need to do. Otherwise, you can lose out. And it's not even so much about them. I mean, yes, if you don't follow up, if you don't do what you say you're going to do while you're nurturing a prospect or nurturing a lead like that, especially a shark, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, chances are they're just going to say no. But there is a situation. There's one situation that can be worse than them saying no. And that's when you get back in touch with them 3 months after the last communication, and you get them on a Zoom, and you guys are checking in with each other, and you're seeing what's going on. They're excited. You see a little glint in their eye, and it turns out that they just happened to see the light, and network marketing was the way. And not just that, the company that I wanted to talk to him about is the way. And not just that, he signed up with somebody else. And there was no real rhyme or reason to the person that he signed up with other than they were in the right place in the right time. I had done all this nurturing along the way, and I had done a lot of the communication. I had bridge a lot of those negative feelings that they had towards the industry of network marketing or MLM, whatever you want to call it, because they had a lot of those. Like, I helped do all that. I did all that heavy lifting. And while we were going through that entire process, he just wasn't ready. He didn't like network marketing. Anyways, I disappear. Somebody else just happens to pop up and ask the right question, and boom, just like that, they're gone. So it reminds me of a time when I first became a real estate agent. I was 23 years old, I believe. Yeah, 23 years old. I was a real estate agent right out of college. I had a friend who, after high school, instead of going to college, he tried to go to college. He dropped out to become an actor, and then he became relatively famous. A lot of people know who he is. And I remember going, when I was a brand new real estate agent, I'm like, I need to connect with everybody and all my friends. And I was doing the whole thing. I mean, like real estate agents, like network marketing 101. I was like, my friends knew I was a real estate agent. My family knew I was a real estate agent. And I made sure that everyone knew. This one particular friend, though, like, I don't know why I felt a little more awkward about talking to him about it. And I didn't have an address for him. I couldn't send him a mailer. He was barely ever in town. But I had the ability to get a hold of him. And I'm sure I saw him a couple times while I was like getting ramped up and getting my license active and things like that. Anyways, I never said anything to him. And he knew I did things around real estate because I'd already bought a couple of investment properties and things like that. But I hadn't really talked to him about being a real estate agent. Anyways, so one day, like fresh out of real estate agent school at my brand new company with the whole little rookie class of agents, I became friends with a woman named Sherry, and she's still a good friend of mine. I still talk to her sometimes, even though we've gone separate ways since then. But her and I were kind of going through that process together, being brand new agents. And we decided that one day to go out on realtor tours. And realtor tours were every Tuesday, and it's where you could go see all the new listings. They weren't open houses for customers. They're just open houses for agents to come and see them so they could get a feel for them and bring their clients to them. Anyways, there's this $2.4 million house on a lake in the city that we were living in. And I was like, I just want to go see it for fun. Like we're allowed to now. We're agents. Let's go see it. Let's just go do it for fun. And so Sherry and I decided to go to that property. And I remember walking through, and it's just gorgeous, and I loved it. And the whole thing like screamed, like my buddy. I mean, it screamed all things that were Minneapolis. And I don't know why. I'm like, man, I only know one person that could afford this house, and it'd be perfect for him. And I was thinking my buddy was the actor. And I remember leaving there, and like that thought just kept gnawing in my brain. Like, man, I got to reach out to him. I got to see what he's up to. I got to see if he's looking. I mean, it was like big sale, big ask. It was all the writing was on the wall. I'm like, I should do this. I should do this. I knew I should do this. Anyways, I didn't do anything. And maybe, if I had more time, I would have. I don't know. But I remember that weekend. So it's probably Saturday. So 4 or 5 days later, I see him at a house party of another mutual friend. I start talking to him, and he's like, yo, Danny, what's up? And I'm like, and I just say, hey, what's going on? We're like, we're just chatting. He's like, you're in real estate, right? You like real estate stuff? And I'm like, I do. And I was talking a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I just became an agent. I was like, I felt like that was my lead in. I could say like what I'm doing. And like, he cracked open the door, and he's like, I just bought a house. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, clearly he didn't use me, and there's no going back on that one at that point. And I asked him, I'm like, yeah, what house did you buy? Pretending to be excited for him while deep down inside I'm crying for myself. Because that's like what, a $50,000 commission as a 23-year-old. That would have been really, really, really nice. And sure enough, it was the same house, the exact house. There was no other house like that one anywhere around the area that was for sale. And I'm like, really? So that just made me cry a little more inside, because like I knew it. I left the house. I'm like, I should call him and I should tell him about this house, even though I don't know if he's looking for a house. If nothing else, he should know that I'm available. He would use me in a heartbeat. I'm his friend. And he would have. The guy he ended up using was a total sleazeball in the marketplace. He had a little bit of a name. He got him as a referral from an agent that he was like his business agent that he was working with. But the guy was a total sleazeball. He was a schmuck. Like he was just not a good person and not a good agent. And he told me about the horrible experience he had with that agent buying that house. Well, at the same time, that agent still collected the $50,000+ commission check. And I didn't get it because I didn't step up and I didn't do what needed to be done earlier on because I didn't have the courage to do it. So this other agent had the relationships. He's a little more established. He said something. So I feel like the same thing happened to me in the network marketing business here just today. It does not happen. It is something that I work so hard to avoid, and something that you can avoid, something that everybody should avoid. Your consistent follow-up, especially when you're talking to sharks, should be regular. And you need to make notes, and you need to have a calendar, and you need to say like, hey, if I'm going to call you in a month, you need to call them in a month. You need to make sure they are continuously aware of what you do, so that at that moment, because you never went knowing the moment, shifts when something changes, a pandemic hits, and they're like, I need to do something more from home. When some other crisis happens, something happens in their life, they get divorced, they get a health problem, they have some kind of midlife crisis, whatever it is. At some point, their mind can turn. And if you didn't make sure that they consistently knew that you're the go-to person for when their mind shifts, then it's going to be the next person that asks them. And in this case, I did not stay present. And to be truthful to myself, or to give myself a little bit of a break, there was about a 2-month window there where I didn't even know what company I was working with, let alone like who would I sign him up with. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I shouldn't have communicated. I should have. I mean, it's 100% on me. I'll take 100% responsibility all day. Like it's 100% on me to have at least maintained some communication, at least check in, just say hi, just say this is what I'm doing. The fact that there's a problem with company A and we all might be moving to company B, he doesn't care. If nothing else, it's probably an interesting conversation piece for him. But I didn't say anything. I just went down into a hole and I'm going to redesign my life and I'm going to do all this other stuff. I'm just not going to talk to anybody. And I didn't. I barely talked to anybody. I was in a float tank one day a week, for crying out loud, just laying there thinking in pitch black, no sound. So I don't know. So that's always my worst nightmare when it comes to sales. It's not being told no. You could say no to me. You can tell me to go fly a kite. You can go tell me to bleep myself. You can go tell me a lot of different things. And at least I know I went out there and did the best that I could. And a no is a no, and that's fine. But to be told that, oh man, I'm so excited. I mean, everything you're talking about, that makes a lot of sense. Anyways, I talked to this guy and I signed up with him because, well, whatever, and then all of a sudden, it's how awkward is it for me? I'm like, well, this immediately went downhill fast because you will never be on my team, but I have offered you all this support and help leading up to this point. And what choice do I have but to say, hey, that's awesome, man. I mean, I'm excited you're getting started. I'm excited that you see what the opportunity is. So, what can I do to help you out? And that's kind of what I did. And I just kind of extended an olive branch and did the right thing. Well, at the same time, deep down inside, internally, I'm crying a little bit because I know this guy and I know that if he turned into it, I mean, we hear it all the time from people on our team. I've got this person, they're going to be perfect. I got this person, they're going to be perfect. So I'm not saying that. I don't know, maybe he quits next month for all I know, but all I know is I would really like to swing the bat with him because he's got a huge list of people and influence over that list and that audience that he has. And those are the type of people that, not just that. I mean, we just had, we had a lot of friends in common. It would have been a nice opportunity within my network to go out there and do something cool. So anyways, can't cry over spilled milk, but I wanted to talk to you guys about that because if you've got any fear right now, if you've got a chicken list, if you got people that you haven't followed up with properly, stop. I mean, just stop listening to this podcast immediately and go start following up with them. Start instantly. I can promise you this, that is not going to happen to me again for a very, very long time. Over the next 24 hours, I am reaching out to everybody. Anybody who is somewhat remotely interested on my list that whatever happened that I had talked to that I said I would follow up with, or people that fell through the cracks a little bit, I'm reaching out to everybody. So, so if you got those people in your world, if you got people that you haven't talked to yet, talk to them now. Talk to them as fast as possible. If they're a shark, go talk to them. You want to take our shark hunting course? Go take our shark hunting course, whatever. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, in fact, they're even easier normally to talk to because a lot of times sharks are people that have some business experience and they're willing to have a more, upfront conversation with you as opposed to the weird dance around the bush you have to do with your cousin's neighbor that's never heard of network marketing before and just always feels like everybody's trying to take advantage of them. So the sharks are a great way to go, and just don't sleep on them. Just don't sleep on them because things like what happened to me today could happen to you. And it's such a little gut punch to be told, yep, I'm in, but I went with a different person. And they turned the corner and I missed it. So anyways, all right. With that being said, if you are interested in watching my journey as I go through a 90-day run, perhaps I've already, depending when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it here around February 10th to the 20th, 2021, you're more than welcome to hop on over to my personal Facebook page. There's a link in the cover photo there that can get you to that. If you go to allinnetworker.com, you can check out any of our training courses. And you can also check out the All In Networker Facebook page, which also has links to the group that I'm building. The only group I'm paying attention to right now, or I'm spending any time in on any social media platform, is that Facebook group of my journey. So there'll be a lot of training that's going on in there and a lot of people just kind of watching as we go through and do some really bizarre marketing tactics along the way. And we try to solve the 4 major questions that any business has, but especially network marketers. How do I get more leads? How do I sell them? How do I onboard them? And how do I give them the best experience they ever had? So we're going to be working through all that. Not just are we working through that. My goal for the 90-day challenge isn't just to get through it and to build a big organization, which I believe I can do, but it's also to start removing myself from it. How do I create that duplication automation? So it's all going to be there for you. Come check it out. I know there'll be a lot of learning to be had just by showing up and watching and laughing along my successes, my failures, and the goofy crap we do. So, all right, appreciate y'all. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon.